Welcome to Two Dogs Digs and our Tuesday night live hall pass. Tonight we are here to chat with you about 5 of our top tips for taking you through how we do an eBay listing. And I tell you the reason that we're doing this. We're focusing specifically on eBay. We will talk about the differences between eBay Canada and eBay US. But one of the reasons that I've actually decided to do this one today is because I started to see a lot more questions coming up in the craft group, especially from some newer people. So I thought it'd be best to sort of take you through how we do everything when we're building our listings. Because I think we have kind of got it down pat, because we've been doing this now for 27 years and it's relatively easy. And I think a lot of people are afraid in some cases of doing this. So we're going to talk about that today. So we're going to talk about it, we're going to give you 5 different tips. We're going to start with how we build the listings themselves and the titles. We're going to go through how we get to the item details, like the item specifics and the description. We're going to talk about where we go with pricing, how we figure that out. We're going to talk about photos, and then we're going to talk about shipping. That's kind of the way that we're going to take ourselves through this. And first and foremost, though, I got to add our fabulous photo fiend from downstairs.
I'm glad you said fiend versus something else that might start with an F.
Friend?
Rascally Wabbit. Hello.
Hello. So Rick does our photography for us. Now, I think one of the things that I want to make sure everybody understands is what we're going to talk about here is we set up things because we actually deal as a pair. So when we're going through these things, we might do it differently because we got 2 people doing it. But everything we take you through today is going to be, you'll be able to go through step by step on your own. So that's sort of the first and foremost thing to talk about that. So we're not going to get into that yet. We're going to do a little bit of news. So first thing on the news today, if you actually, before I say first thing on the news, let me say hello and thank you to everybody for joining us here on our live Tuesday, especially those of you who are members of our Kennel Club. We thank you so much for supporting us. For $2.99 US or Canadian, I think it's both, a month. You can help support us here on our YouTube channel, where we can, hello Doug, hello, yes, hello, where we can hopefully give you tips like this that will help you either speed up your listing, find better ways to price, and actually make a little bit more money. So it's less than a latte. Hell, nowadays our monthly fees are less than a latte, so it's got to be bought. Well, it doesn't have to be, but we do thank all of you who do support us.
Yeah,
you also get, as part of it, you'll see some people have little icons beside their names, and that's the amount of time that they've been members for us and supporting us, and it moves up in terms of icons as the time goes on. You also get little emojis you get to put in. There's a research deck that we update. We don't update it a lot because there's about 45 to 50 different things on there, but we just actually updated with, I think, 2 more things on that. Plus, every once in a while, we do a watch out for, which is just for members of the Kennel Club. And it's a YouTube video talking about something that you could pick up and flip, but it's only for Kennel Club members. So if you didn't see one, we did post one last week. So how you find that is just go to YouTube, go to Two Dogs Digs, and look at the community tab. There's a community tab in there, and underneath that community tab, if you're a member, you'll be able to actually click right into the video, or you'll be able to see it in the library. So Charmaine was in first, yay! And Diana's here, Susan, Lisa, Kathy, Janet, Heather and Bob, Mr. Greg's at home today, Sherry, who was on Whatnot just watching stuff a little while ago, Luette, Tina, Areda, Susan, Paul, Mr. Paul, Lisa's here as well. Let's see.
I'm upset with you. You never call me out.
Oh, Rick is here.
Yay!
Oh, Lisa. Yes, there is a Clibben cat behind us. That's actually one of the things.
Technically, I was here first.
Might show you how we're doing listing. We have a couple of items we're going to show you how we do this. Tamara, hello. Miss Dawn, Leanne, how are you doing? Thanks for popping in to see us. I don't think I know. I don't know if I said Kendra or not, but if I didn't, there's Kendra again. Good boy, Doug. He's sitting up here right now. He'll start barking any minute because he can't find Rick.
You find something new.
Anyway, here's the things we're going to talk about first. Is we wanted to talk a little bit about an update. So if you are an eBay seller, they have announced their seller update for 2024, their fall update. Now, sometimes this is an update which we as sellers dread. Like, we always dread it because we never know what the hell they're going to do in this update. So in this particular update, though, I will tell you that they actually haven't really done much for a change. They haven't really done much. So, pardon me. The update is for US and Canada. So US has a few more things than Canada does. This is basically the seller updates that have happened. Is let me just click on here and get a bigger image for you. So, number one thing, something that we do not recommend that any of you use, AI. So after years and years and years of eBay yelling at us for don't do photos like you do on Etsy. Don't do photos with backgrounds. Don't do photos that do that. Now what are they doing? Now that we've got AI, do photos with backgrounds. And so they've got an enhancement tool that lets you use background removal and then select AI generated backgrounds. So here's the example they're showing you. You take a picture of the pillow you're going to sell. You circle it, you remove everything to the back, and then you pick another couch to put the pillow on. Look at
that's one way of hiding the blood stains.
Yeah, lovely choices of couches. So again, one of the reasons that it is they're recommending potentially using it now is a lot of things have actually updated and upgraded with AI through Google, like Google search and regular Bing search and all the different ways that search is done now, so that they don't have as bad of a challenge if there is backgrounds and things. That's one of the main reasons. But it is kind of silly. Yeah, I mean, people do like AI backgrounds. I mean, you could do them. The way we set it up is we have a fake brick wall. We take pictures against the fake brick wall. That's our background. That's the way.
We have a real one too that we use.
We have a real brick wall. Yeah. You're playing with it. It's so silly. Yeah, I haven't even tried playing with it, but it's just one of the things. And yes, the yellow does look better. That's very true. I will say that it does look better.
But for me, I think that's more of a time suck.
More of a time
suck. It takes more time for you to fiddle with it than to take a clear, easy to see picture in the first place.
Yeah.
What would you do, Craig, if I used AI on our photos and it took me another 20 minutes?
Oh, you don't need to take more time on your photos. They are also just talking about the fact that there's new summary pages for you that you can see when you set up discounts. You can do manager discounts under marketing. So you can see what your sales events are and volume pricing and things like this, and see how they're tracking and how they're selling and what kind of sales you've actually got against them, which is good. Then they have, this is not even an update. Price your items like a pro with product research. Basically, it's just another note to tell you TerraPeak is now product research. It's that simple. So it's the exact same way it always worked before. A couple of visual changes to it, but they also have TerraPeak now available, or product research. I have no idea why they did this, on your phone. And they did not have that before. So now you can get 3 years worth of research on your phone.
Which is useful.
Yes, that is really good. It's time consuming, but I have nothing better to do.
You and me both, Heather. You and me both.
Elisa says sometimes AI bites chunks out of photo. Yes, that's part of the challenge when you're doing stuff like that too. It's like it roughs it doesn't necessarily do the best edges. Hello, Michael. So I feel like the backgrounds were better on Etsy than on eBay. We've been doing them now. We use the same backgrounds because we use the same photos on eBay and Etsy. And we haven't seen any specific changes to them. So that's the main thing it's talking about from that side. On the tools you can trust. The rest of the seller update is how to grow your business with flexible cash. We don't care. Increased item value for international shipping. We don't care. Feedback policy been updated. Yeah, you don't. They don't. No one. They don't take off bad feedback. They don't let you give feedback to the buyers who suck. So we don't care. And then ship with confidence with extra insurance. So we don't care. So really, this is a we don't care update. A complete we don't care update.
Craigie, on eBay Canada.
Yep.
This is all they put. Tools you can trust and feedback policy. Hello, Canada. You don't care. You don't matter to us.
The gate is not working.
No, it's not. Do you want me to come up and get
down
him?
the stairs going, where is he? Where is he?
And he's going to come and scratch at me because I shared
multiple complaints of issues trying to edit photos today. Yeah, it's kind of messed up. At least I don't like the product research on the phone because you can't use photos. You have to use words or barcodes. That is true. You do have to do that. That's the one thing that is a little different that you do have to do in this. So, hold on a second. So that's part one of our update. Part two of our update is if you ever used to list on Kidizen, not a lot of people did. If you listed on Kidizen, well, guess what? You can't no more because Kidizen is closing. So Kidizen was like a kids marketplace, and with heavy hearts, they announced that they're closing the Kidizen marketplace. So again, we looked at it years ago. We don't sell kids clothes, so it's not a big deal. But if you happen to be looking at that, it just also goes to show you that there's a lot of places that have tried to do things. If you think about it, we had Vinted in Canada, and it got pulled, and it got pulled in Australia. There's only so much room for I think personally, for a certain number of good like sites that have actual viewers to them, because there's like 7 or 8 other sites. In fact, I think if I remember correctly, there's like there's a thing called Starlove as well, but nobody lists on it. And I've seen people posting about this little website or this website that's been started up by some big reseller in the States, and they don't have the audience. Even Max Sold, which is big, the biggest complaint about Max Sold actually, or not Max Sold, Whatnot. The biggest complaint that comes from people from Whatnot is that there's not enough buyers. There's more sellers than there are buyers. So I guess that's sort of thing. What are all the markets that we can sell in? Leanne's asking. Well, we literally, from Canada, you have eBay Canada or .com. You have Poshmark Canadian. You can sell on Poshmark in the US if you have a US cross-border shipper that allows you to use USPS shipping. Some don't, so you have to be sure you check that. You've got Etsy. You have Depop. You have Kijiji, which is the equivalent of Craigslist. You have Whatnot. And I think you have Starlove, which again, I wouldn't actually end up doing anything on. You have Facebook Marketplace as well. And then you've got Instagram. And then we don't have Mercari in Canada, but again, it's one of those other ones. Then there's Carrot. There's a couple of local ones. Bonanza and eCrater, which are actually, Bonanza scrapes your eBay listings and posts them to Google. So there's a few different things. Who's next to leave? Mercari? They've had issues with a lot of different things, and they recently had to change a bunch of things with their pricing, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's another one bites the dust, basically. So that is what we've got listed, what our news is. Now, the next thing I want to just ask about is whether or not anybody did any of the things from last week. Did anybody get a little bit of their mojo back? We did put a listing in the craft group, but we did have a challenge for everybody. But did anybody get any of their mojo back at all? I know
mojo. Did we?
I think we got our mojo back.
Did we? Yeah.
I think we got our mojo back. I
moved to the other side of the couch.
We did some stuff where we talked about clearing some space. We got some.
Yes,
not a bit of mojo was got. Oh well, Leanne, I did. Yes, I did. Thanks for the challenge. Yeah, Charmaine cleared her whole thing. Heather's like, nope.
I like
Lots
seeing
listed, but a worse sales week. But that's, if your mojo finds my mojo, please send it home. Janet says, yes, I did. Thank you. Love the challenges. Yeah, we have a challenge this week. And the challenge this week is to literally pull 5 of your listings completely off and pretend you never listed them. This is more challenging than a lot of people think, because a lot of people actually just put their listing up and go, okay, I'm going to leave it. And then after a while, they might change a price. Or we want you to literally find 5 listings that maybe have some good money, should be good sellers, and they just haven't gone in 6 months or so. And we want you to end the listing and then literally new title, new research, new photos, new everything. And I mean, this show can show you how we're setting this whole sort of thing up. Leanne cleared a big pile behind her couch. Kathy said the living room is clear. Yay! So thank you so much. It's like, as much you did, as much as you could do. I love this one. Holly's listing 100 items while recovering from foot surgery. 3 more weeks to go. That is impressive, because your brain doesn't necessarily want to work when your foot's sore. Andrew spent all last week preparing for a local auction, and now his stores are in time away for the upcoming Canada Post strike, which may or may not happen. We're still trying to figure out whether that's why we haven't really talked about it too much in here. We're pulling stuff off listings and going to sell the garage sale. Good. That's good. That's really good. Diana pulled off 200 listings and donated the items. Yay. That is like the stuff that I like to hear. So here's a couple of things that we did. So one of the things that I said is I wanted you to learn something new. So here's my learn something new. So when I was out today, I saw something at a store. So I'm going to go, this would have been normally in a thrifter to throw it, but I thought this belongs in a learn something new. So I saw this mug and it's like, oh, look, it's a Nightmare Before Christmas mug. Well, what can I learn about it? Well, I looked at it. It's $8.49. It's like, oh, it's kind of funky looking. It's a big, big mug. But how would I learn from this? Well, I flipped it upside down and I went, I've never heard of this before. So I went and did a little bit of learning and looked at Zariki Brands by R Squared and looked it up. Now, this is what I'm talking about learning. So I learned that this brand is not that popular. It has done some licensed Disney things before, but it doesn't have a big market sort of to it. And it doesn't have big money behind it. A lot of the stuff that it sold were all in the $10 and $12 and $14 mark. This specific mug actually wasn't even, I couldn't find that in looking it up. But again, my goal here is now when I flip a mug over that I go, oh, this is going to be interesting, I'm going to actually go, okay, Zariki. I know it's not something, I probably don't need to spend more time on it in most cases, because the research I did today let me pull that off. And yeah, some of the mugs can be that much. But there's mugs that sell for $50. So you can't really judge the $8.49. They did that because it's Halloween, it's Nightmare Before, and Christmas coming up. It's Nightmare Before Christmas. It's Disney. So this particular Value Village does overprice some of the things that were in there.
But they still sell. We're not buying at that price.
I can bet you, if I go back, this was not there last week. If I go back later on this week, which I will, it won't be there. So it will be sold to somebody. Remember, not everybody who's thrifting is reselling. There's people who are thrifting because they like that stuff and they buy it for themselves. So that's just. Well, yeah, and even today, it was 30% off for us, and I didn't buy it even at $5. So but again, I wanted to talk about, I said, learn something new. And then not only learn something new, but maybe buy something new or try something new. So this is one of the things that we decided to learn something new about today. Because when we were in the store and Rick came with me, there was this Liquid Cool Audio Tech Pro speakers, surround sound 3-way speakers.
250 watts of power.
Look at the size of this thing. There were 2 of them. And there they are. They are, yes, that big. You can see, this is how big they are. They're gigantic. Gigantic speakers. they actually don't look like they've ever been used at all. And we decided to risk $12.99, so $10. We were risking $20 on this. I did do quick research on it. I couldn't find that specific thing, but I did find other ProTech, audio tech speakers on Kijiji and on Facebook Marketplace that they used to they used to sell out of the back of a car. They've been listed for $250, $300 some odd dollars. So no, Rick is not listing them. These are going into a max sold. So this is us doing a risk for something to flip on max sold, because I think a pair of brand new funky like speakers like that is something that could actually get us some good money. So I'm doing a $20 risk on that. We'll be putting them in our next max sold that probably starts in a week anyway. So, yep. But yeah, that's what we do. So those are a couple of the things we learned this week. So hopefully you've learned a little bit of something from that. But you will also, again, I also did a thrift store in 10 minutes. Rick was not happy. I did that today. I came around and I was like, he was still on row 1. And I said, are you ready to go? And he goes, no, I've only done a row and a half. And I went, I know, 10 minutes is up. I have nothing in my cart. I didn't see anything. And then I let him wander for another 10 or 15 minutes through the next aisles. And we literally got nothing. So we could have been out of there in 10 minutes had we should.
No, but you asked me to go with you. So yes. I was going to take
I made him go with me. Thank God. Oh, you paid $100 back in the day. Yeah. Thank God that he did go with me, because those speakers each took up one cart. So I had to have 2 carts. So I was actually glad.
And there was a little old lady trying to push past us in the aisle. And I think she would have grabbed them if she could have.
So let's chat about listing on eBay. So for those of you who know us, we have been 28 years on eBay. In 2020, we were actually named to the eBay Hall of Fame, eBay Canada Hall of Fame, as one of their 20 sellers to be recognized for all the work they've done over the past 20 years. And that includes selling, but it also includes teaching and helping people with using eBay. We have been featured. We were featured in eBay 25th anniversary as a featured seller for one of the weeks for the eBay in their 25th anniversary. Had 52 different sellers they featured every week. And there are only 2 international sellers. One was from Australia and one was us. So we were very lucky to be featured there. So we know a lot about how things work on eBay and a lot of ways that we have found that do things better and easier and things like that. So the first thing we're going to talk about is when you're doing a listing, what's the best way to go about doing a listing? So the easiest way that we always say you should try and start off with is to look at using the sell similar feature on eBay when you're doing your research. So again, we're going to talk today about in order. We're going to talk about listing. So how do we get to titles and things like that? So let me just I get a better picture there. There we go. So I'm going to show you first off one of the things that we're going to try and list today, which we haven't listed yet. So here we go. So this is, I'm showing you this on our phone right now. And so this is our, what I'd be doing. I'm going to go to the Google Lens, or Carling as people always think about, as we always call it. And I'm going to take a picture with my camera of this particular item. Okay, it's too shiny, of course, right now. So this is a Lego Halloween set. And it's taking the picture and it's transferring me down here. And again, this is the easiest way for us to try and look at doing something is we look at this and we can actually quickly see how this is done. And this is, I'm going to show you, Kendra, we're actually going to show you most of how this starts from your phone. And we're also showing it from the desktop. So in this case, the nice thing I like is in some cases you can actually see what prices are for these things. So we can actually see somebody actually listed there on eBay for $41. But what I like the most about it is we can go to it, we can go and visit it. And when we visit it, we've got all the information there. And the first thing that I am going to do with this is I'm going to scroll. And unfortunately, I got to scroll a hell of a long way because all I want to do right now is sell one like this. So this is what we do when we're in thrift stores. We want to sell one like this. So I'm going to click sell one like this. And I'm actually not going to do anything to this at all, except take off the stock photo. Well, I'll just leave it on there. I'm not going to change anything about it. So I'm going to save this till later. So what that's done is if I look in my selling section right now, under my drafts, I now have this that I can actually update. Now, personally, I just like to do stuff on my desktop, just from a typing perspective. I got big thumbs. It's harder for me to actually do stuff on this. But this is what I'm doing. I'm taking this and pulling it together. I'm also looking at this. If I go back to that Google search, I'm looking to see potentially how other people may be listing it, the titles, what they're calling it, things along those lines. And one of the key things that a lot of people don't do, which I think they should be thinking about more, is they need to think about when they're making their listings, making the titles basically as easy as they put in English. Write the title out as best you can with, like, as if you were saying it to somebody, as if I was saying it to Rick. So I'm going to go specifically out of my thing and into my desktop now because it's easier for me to show it to you there. Back on here, I'm going to manage my drafts. And I'm going to resume this draft and put it up here for everybody to see. So when I look at this, make this bigger. Oops. So this is, to me, this is a bad title because this is not how you would speak what this is. Lego Halloween 850487 Ghost Witch Zombie, spelt wrong, Battle Pack, great condition, item number this. This is not the way that anybody would talk about this specific item. So this is actually, it even lists itself on here as a Halloween set. So that is the right stock number for it. So this is, again, I'm trying to show you the way we do it. That item number actually, just so you know, I don't know where that 601 thing is coming from. That could be, oh, I see. That actually they grabbed from down here. They put this item number right there. And
yeah, that does not belong in a title. That belongs in an item specific under the MPN number, if you're so inclined.
Yeah, so what we're going to do here is, again, there's the way that we do it. We look at this and we go, Lego Halloween, I'm just going to say figures.
Yeah, they actually want, they abbreviated zombie so they could fit 80 characters exactly.
Yeah. So this is a Lego Halloween, and they literally, there is no actual technical name for it. It says building toy, so it's a Lego Halloween. I'm going to call it a figure set with ghost, witch, and zombie. You don't have to have the ands. You don't have to put with if you don't want to. But again, if I'm trying to say to you, say it in English. Then we do item number on here because this is one thing for the 850487 because that is actually big, and then new inbox. So I capitalize some of the words, just how I do it. I might do Halloween. I might do go. Just so you know, that is now my title. I copy that immediately down to the details. I do not necessarily change a word. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. The other thing I do here is this is new. And so I don't have anything else to copy down here. If I wanted to, I could use an AI description on this, but we'll talk about that when we get to descriptions because it's ridiculous. So from a title perspective, try to get, as you've got 73 characters, try to speak it as if you can in English. I'm going to just save this one. I'm going to show you a couple of the others that we have saved for later. So in my drafts, I have a couple of others. that I've got built. So as you can see, things like Deadpool, Wolverine, Roosevelt is the name of the brand. Retired, Toronto Fan Expo exclusive. Vintage 1986, Grateful Dead, Steal Your Face, Skull, 44-inch fabric wall tapestry banner. Like, I can put all that in there. Dimensions Needlepoint, Moonlit Tide. Now I capitalized that because it was the name of it. Sealed. So as you can see, it's trying to use that as we go through stuff when we're trying to do it. I try and do it like that. Yes, we do that. I copy and paste all that, and when I get to doing a little bit more about the item specifics in just a short second, I'm going to talk exactly about that. But that's how we build our titles. What you can do as well when you're looking at that is, if you're I want you to remember one thing, which is if you are listing on .com and you find a listing that is from .ca, if you're in Canada, and you find a listing that's from .ca and you hit sell similar, it will launch it on your .ca account. It won't launch it on .com. If you find a listing that is from anywhere else in the world, the UK, Australia, France, Japan, and you hit sell similar, it pops it into the .com platform. So keep that in mind. If you literally are looking at something and because you see things actually say like this is available here or there. So let me just look that one up again. So I'll go back to this Lego, let's see, 850 487. So I'm going to do a really quick search on that. And when you're looking at these pieces, you'll see on the bottom here where it says it's from.
You're going to show your screen?
Thank you, Rick. You'll see on the bottom where it shows it's from. Free delivery, free delivery. Now, in this case, most of these are coming from the US. I know something, for example, though, that has a tendency to be Canadian, which are Kinder toys. So let me just look up a Kinder toy. And what you may see here, you'll see this. This one says from Italy. You might find them to say from Canada. So here's a perfect example. This 5 lot of Kinder toys is from Canada. If I go onto this and I say, scrolling down, I found it. I got to scroll down here. And I find the further down. Where the heck is it? So far down. Oh my God, it's down. Where is it? It's down here somewhere.
I think
wow, what a lot of stuff in there. Huh?
I think you scrolled past it.
Did I?
Yep. I don't think it's in a bubble. I think it's actually a URL, basically underlined text.
I'm trying to find it. There should be a thing that says sell one like this. Visit store. There should be a sell one like this. And of course, I can't find it on this one.
Nope, go down. It's right below the picture block.
Oh, there. Have one to sell. Well, thank you. Sell now. Thank you, Paul. It's under the main picture. If I click on this, what you won't see as well, this will pull this up, but it ends up pulling it up on Canada. That's what we've had a tendency to find all the time. It's pulling it up in Canadian. It doesn't pull. So that's a little bit tricky. So you just have to watch where it is. Yes. You guys got it. You got it. Paul got it. I was so focused on the other way of doing it from my phone. Yeah.
Actually, sometimes it shows as a bubble.
Got it to me, so you all know how to do that part. So again, that's how we're building our listings. Really simple. Our titles are simple. When we look at something, we might look it up on another platform. If we do, we look at titles on things like that. In here, there's something I have back here, which is this Rosenthal. It's called Rosenthal Netter set, and I have this floral set. So I'm looking up this set of things, and when I go to here, I can see a lot of things saying, "Oh, I didn't know this was Aldo Londi." So I can actually look at these things, and what I do in some of these cases, because I can't build something from it, I may copy that and use that as my title. So again, it's trying to find a way to make the title as simple as you possibly can make it. The second thing that we're talking about is that when you go to the actual listing itself, there's a lot of things that happen in those listings. So let me get to my draft again. So I go back here, get to my drafts. So in this, I'm going to delete that draft. Yep. In this Lego one that we happen to do, this is what it's going to look like to us. Now, I normally don't, this particular thing happened to have a stock photo in it. A lot of times there are no photos. So what I do, and this is the way that we found it easier to list things, is I'll show you my drafts I'm building all these drafts, and if a draft doesn't have a picture of any kind in it, it's not ready for listing. That means the pricing isn't done, the description isn't done, or anything like that. Now, this is where Rick and I trade off. So Rick can look at this, and he can actually see what I consider to be bad pictures of that. So I just literally, I finished writing that one up, and I just throw in a bad photo. So he knows this one's ready to be fixed. So everything else in here, the title is now fixed, the brand, the UPC's in there, additional options in there, like the condition and anything, it's all ready for me. The pricing's all set. Everything is done. So he knows, or you know, if you're doing it on your own, that this is now ready for better pictures. This one is ready for better pictures. This one is not, because there's no photo in it. So this still has to be fixed. This one, it's tricky because it had that one thing in it, which we don't want. So the first thing we would end up doing, I don't know if I can drop that off or not. It doesn't want to let me take the stock photo up. Custom label is where you're going to store it. We usually add that at the very end. So you've got a category. You're going to find, actually, that's a different idea, saying it's ready. Then you could do that. Because I'm usually looking at the item as I'm building the listing, it's just as easy to take a bad photo.
I like to see a picture of what he's listing as well, because sometimes things are so esoteric and I don't know what the hell it is.
Yeah.
At least with a picture, I can go to the box of stuff that's ready for photos.
And if I'm doing like 7 things that are the same, like 7 lots of Lego toys or Crazy Bones or something like that, they're all in. I just use a generic picture by them, but I put a note in says, this is lot A, this is lot B, this is lot C. The one thing we do in that case is I put that as the very first words in my title so that Rick can see it. So in case he's taking the pictures and uploading everything on his phone, he actually doesn't have to scroll like into it to get to it, because the phone will only show you a certain amount of things.
And then before we launch it, we move the lot.
I move the lot C to the end. So what you need to do, and this is the next important things, you need to look at item specifics. Item specifics, there are different things you need. You need required item specifics, and then there are alternative item specifics. So in this particular case, you can see the only thing required in here was the brand. If I go back to that dimensions needlepoint, the required things in the dimensions needlepoint were a brand and a UPC. Now, if you don't have the UPC, don't worry, just put does not apply. You can put the words does not apply. But if you have the UPC, you can put it in there if someone is searching through the UPC. This is for searches, really. At the end of the day, this is how some people may search. I don't know how many people do. Now, these are the optional things, and this is what we want you to keep your eyes open for, especially if you're doing a sell similar and you've pulled somebody else's stuff into it. These are all things that you may or may not need to think about doing. So this is saying it's optional. Put a format, put a theme, it's a bundle, put the model number, put an MPM. Most of these you don't really need to do. Like in this case, the nice thing is it shows you how many people are searching for bundled items under this category of needlepoint. Under this hand embroidery kits, there is literally only 1,000 people who've ever searched for bundled items. So you actually can go in that and just clear it off. Night Beach Scene. Let's clear that off, because there's the themes that they have. Animals and insects, babies, beach and nautical. Maybe I put beach. But don't create something that's not there. Don't try and write your own specific in. We don't think it's useful. Framed picture, it's not a framed picture. It can be framed, but you're not going to frame it. So again, you don't want to have that in there. These are low things. You can see things that have 125,000 people searching for it. That's where you want to fill it in. And again, when you're looking up items and you go back to that searching side of things, that's where people are putting these things. See, multicolor. People may put in multicolor when they're doing a search, and they may go through here and say, all I want to do is see new things. And all I want to do in the new things is I want to see new things that are blue things. And all I want to see is new things that are blue things that are $5 to $8. Those are the ways that somebody's going to narrow this down. And then they've got 16 results. That's all they can look at.
Yeah. And Craig, the one thing that I would mention as you're going through that, the categories drive the item specifics for the item. The item specifics then drive the search filters that Craig just showed. So based on how people are looking and what shows up in that search filter on the side, if you leave something blank and a search filter on the side is selected, your item is filtered out of search results. So that's why eBay has its mandatory item specifics and recommended item specifics to help buyers find your item using the filters that item specifics provide within the category.
And you can see, for example, in posters for entertainment memorabilia Grateful Dead, there is not a required. There's only optionals. And the only thing people is 1,000 people said, oh, I'm going to search for original. And if you look at, I'm just going to see if there's another one in here that we just did. So the Deadpool Wolverine that I'm just building, I haven't finished building it yet. When I look in there, this is category is men's shirts. Required. Now, again, see, this has a lot more required things in it. It's required, the brand, the size, the type, the sleeve length, the department, the color. All of these are required. But the rest down here, theme. There's 788,000 people searching. If you can see that, it's a little small, but there's 788,000. Look at fabric type. So there's 581,000 people searching fabric type. So there is a reason you may want to put these things in here. Character. To me, Deadpool was really big. I need to put that in because that's what somebody would look at, right? Button down, things that neckline. There's only 12,000 people searching for it. So again, what I normally do is I clear out. I always want to look at somebody else's stuff too because I pulled this from something because I want to clear out all the things that somebody may have put the wrong things in. And that's the last thing I want to have inside here, which is stuff. You can see none of these, only 1,000 people search for chest size. Only 667 people search for machine washable. So spending all that time putting that stuff in is a bit ridiculous, really, at the end of the day. You're putting a lot more than you need to do in there. What you should do is very simply, and I will go to the Grateful Dead as my example because I have it set up. I've done my nice title, Vintage Grateful Dead Steal Your Face banner. I copy that down into here. There it is. Then I have my condition. In this case, this is used. So I put in very good shape. See description for more detail. And here's where I put the size. And then I added that. That's all I've done. If I wanted to, and I'm going to copy this just in case and see what ends up happening to it. If I wanted to go to an AI description, what am I going to get with this? Featuring the iconic artwork of the late Jerry Garcia, this original piece is perfect. I have seen so many pieces that are perfect for any collection with their unique design and high quality fabric. This is a true gem. This is so ridiculous, right? On this. So again,
hang it on your wall today and bring a touch of rock and pop history to your home.
I'm going back to mine. Part of the challenge, again, as a seller or as a buyer is I've looked at things and I see AI generated descriptions and they're so fluffy that I really don't care. I don't think the buyer's actually done anything about that. My personal opinion is the buyer doesn't even put the effort in. They're just hitting AI description from their titles, and half the titles that people put in are bad too. So,
well, plus if you use AI descriptions, you as the seller are responsible for how AI has described your item,
yeah,
and eBay will not have your back if there's a discrepancy between what AI has written about your item and what the buyer finds when they open the package and puts in an item not as described case.
they hardly read regular descriptions, much less AI fluffy ones. That could be true. Everyone is high quality and iconic. I know that's ridiculous.
And a lovely addition to your
A
home.
lovely addition to your Wolverine is the brand. Did I put the Wolverine as the brand?
No, you put Deadpool as a brand, I believe.
I thought I put him as a character.
Hmm.
Oh no, brand? No, see that should be Roosevelt's. So I hadn't updated this one yet. Sorry, it's
Yeah.
not the screen there. I hadn't updated.
That was somebody else's listing.
This is somebody else's thing. So
similar.
this is one. As you saw, there was nothing in there, so I didn't have anything in there correctly. Character should be there. Character, I had Deadpool, and I think I can actually put in Wolverine too, because they let you do +1. And I think if I wanted to, I could put in features if I really wanted to. I could put Marvel in there because it is a Marvel shirt, but I don't know if anybody's looking for that under features.
No, they
Product
wouldn't.
line could be Marvel as well. So there's places you can think about all those different things as ways that it could be. So again, this was one I just popped in to do to show you what you could actually end up doing. So when you're building that kind of thing. So that's your title. That is, so for our titles, we're pulling it, we're putting it into English, making it simple. We're cutting that and putting it into our description. For our condition, we're being clean, and we have some easy ones we use. If it's nice and clean, which a lot of our stuff is, in excellent condition. I know people say don't use excellent, don't use very good, don't use. We do. We have for 28 years. So we say in very good condition, in very good to excellent condition, in excellent to near mint shape. And usually beside that, we say looks like it's hardly been used, looks like it's never been played with. Or if there are flaws, we list right there. We say small tear to this, see description for more details. And we cut that and put it in. That's our description for the actual item. It becomes those two things. And this is one of the challenges that we did when we talked about Etsy last week, learning about Etsy. We didn't realize that people aren't searching that, and that's why we should be using tags in Etsy. So if you think about these item specifics, they're kind of the way that you should be thinking about maybe your Etsy tags.
Yeah, plus I think that the condition descriptions could change based on the category you're listing something in. For example, if you're listing something in a collectibles category and there is a known grading system, that's where you really need to be careful about how you're describing your item or the condition of your item. Because my near mint and your near mint could be two completely different things in, let's say, a vintage Barbie category.
So we were talking about the next step in would be pricing. So I'm just going to go straight to there and show you. This is the Seller Hub. This is 3 years. We have it moved to 3 years. And once you set it there, it sits there, and every time you open it up, it should open up for 3 years for you. The problem on the phone is that when you try and do the research on the phone, it doesn't let you set it. So it always reverts back to 90 days. So when I go to product research on the phone, you have to slide down. In my phone, it says research. And if I did Lego, let's just put in monsters. You'll see what ends up happening is it shows 90 days up in the top corner up here. I have to click on that and then go, I want 3 years worth. The minute I go out of this and I say Lego Monsters Ghost, it puts me back to 90 days. So there's still a flaw here where now I have to go back in, I have to go this, and I have to look up 3 years again. It doesn't let you lock in.
It's a filter versus a toggle.
Yeah, it's a filter versus a toggle. So when I go back to, There we go. There. So here's the research. It's under it's under research here, product research. It used to be called therapy. So this is for pricing. We just want you to take a look at things that are the last 3 years. So we just recommend looking at various things in here. Don't look at the things that are giant peaks. See if you can find your exact item here. Keep in mind the really simple thing, if you've got a detailed search for this that matches exactly, you'll actually see average sold prices that are okay. But one of the nice things is right at the top, it shows you that the number of people who are doing free shipping, which is also something that you want to maybe keep in mind. You will find a lot of times in some of the categories, lots of people do free shipping. The great thing about Terapeak product research is you can look at them in all sorts of different ways. You can sort by average shipping. You can sort by the average sold price.
And that's just by clicking on the heading and the
just by clicking on the header. And the reason that this is pulling up 565 is this is actually Lego Monsters. This is the entire set, which includes the big mansion, which we have downstairs. You can see the date last sold. So you can sort them all sorts of different ways. If you want to see something and go, I want to know what sold recently because this is what I'm planning on selling. Well, there's that thing. It sold for $29. There's a loose one sold for $33. There's another one sold for $34. There's another one sold at auction for $31. So I can kind of get an idea this is a $29 to $30 item. And so when I'm building this originally, again, my next step in building this is going to be I need to figure out what pricing I'm going to put something at. So I'm just going to go straight into here and go, okay, I now know what everybody seems to be putting it at. I'm going to put my price at, and I'm going to do mine at $29.95, right in the middle of everything. It's just my choice. Got right here. Here's the medium price. If you want, you can look at this and see similar listings as well to give you an idea. So it's another quick way to find what is going on. There's average prices and average free shipping. So everybody's charging shipping. There's some simple things. There's one for 34, one for 31. Okay, so I've got a pretty good price for when I'm doing that. Now, before we go on to shipping, which we're going to run out of time. So before we go out to shipping, I'm just going to throw it to Rick just to quickly talk a little bit about photos.
Yeah, photos are fun. Basically, Craig, can you put up your screen again? When Craig and I are doing listings together. Okay, so when we're doing listings together and I'm going through the drafts on my phone, I can actually pick up the listing on my phone and then add photos from my device. One of the cool things that eBay does now with .com, haven't checked this out on .ca, is that when you're in the listing flow for a draft item, in the photo section, you can see at the very end it says upload photos from mobile app. If Craig clicks on upload photos from mobile app, I'm going to get a notice on my phone. I can click on that and it takes me into the listing on my phone inside the app and then lets me go in and add photos from my phone. So just waiting for that to load. Come on, there they go. And I did take some pictures, so I'm just going to quickly go through and add them. And upload. So you can see they're uploading now. And when I'm done, Craig can go back to that listing on the desktop and the photos will be there. So I just closed the listing. Craig, if you go and refresh your screen. There, the photos have all shown up. And if Craig wants to adjust the order of the photos, he can click and drag and do whatever he wants. And that's my part.
The main thing that we're trying to do there is just show you that's the easy way to do it. So if you're doing this on your own and you get your titles ready and your listing ready, then you go to your item details, your item specifics, then you add in your descriptions, keeping it clean, not too big. You've got pricing that you're trying to figure out your way through pricing. Then you do the photos. So the way, as I said, we set it up is I spend a day building 5 or 10 things. So let's pretend Rick isn't doing this. I'm doing a day where I'm spending 5 or 10 things that I'm getting ready for drafts. Then the next day I'll do the photos for all of them. And then I'll list from that, because I know that once I've got that ready image or the fake image as a good image, it's ready for me to list. And I can actually show you right now, if I go to my drafts, that I have this one right now, which is a draft that I wanted to do, which is an auction. It's ready for me to list. All the pictures are up here. And so I've got all I needed to have, nothing as a real thing. It's under mortars and pestles. There's only a time period, which I had to put. I could do more, but I don't need to. In excellent shape, looks unused. There's my exact title. Then I added a little bit. And then there's my end, in excellent shape, looks unused. Doing a 5-day auction in this case, because I don't want it ending on election night. And so I am ready to list it, and I'm listing it. So I now know those are ready to list immediately. So there it is. That's done. That is now listed as an auction that will end in 5 days. Now, a question Leanne was asking, can you sell similar if the item only shows up on an active Etsy listing? No. There is a way around it. And the way around it is using cross-list magic. So if we had found an image that was on Etsy, so let me just see if I can find one. I don't know if I'll be able to do it fast enough. If I could find an image on Etsy, I can actually open the image on my desk. It can only be done on desktop. And then I would click on the crosslist magic icon in the top corner. And you would see here, I would ask it to be listed on eBay Canada or eBay. It would be the Etsy listing, and I could click on it. So I'm going to do a bad one right now, which is I'm just going to go to my Etsy store really quickly. This is I never do this right when I'm trying to type. And no. So here's an item I found. I want to list this. This is only on Etsy, but I don't have it. I want to list this. So what I can do is I'll go to Crosslist Magic. I want to list this on ebay.us. I'm going to click on my little Crosslist Magic icon there, and it's building the eBay listing like a sell similar. Now I have to go back and do all the proper things on this, but that's one of the real benefits that we love about Crosslist Magic as well, especially if you're not using for your phone. But look, it's pulling up all the old pictures, which I don't want. So what I end up doing on this, I'll show you exactly what I would remove all the pictures, and then I would save it quickly. And now I know that in my drafts, there it is, kissing Barbie. Now I know it has to be fixed. There's no picture. I don't have a starting price. There's nothing. It was an auction, so I have to do the real stuff with that. But that's how you actually pull an Etsy listing or a Poshmark listing or a Facebook Marketplace listing into eBay. So
yeah, we do have a video about crosslist magic on our YouTube channel, Leanne.
So last but not least is shipping. And we actually are, some people don't like doing this, but really we like to do this because we found it after all these years. It's the best way for us to do it, which is we consider flat rate shipping as the best possible way for you to actually look at doing anything. We have a video on how to set up flat rate shipping. It's one of our YouTube videos. This is it. You can also see, I think that's the way that the icon actually looks. You can set up flat rate shipping for any market. Now, there's a couple of reasons we set up flat rate shipping. One is if you do calculated shipping on Canada from ebay.ca and you're selling to people in Canada, if you're on ebay.com, you're selling to people in the US, eBay charges 13.25% on your shipping charge as a fee. And you don't collect that if you're doing calculated shipping, unless you add in a handling fee. That's one reason. So we actually have figured out the best way to do it is to set fixed flat rates. it's easy. Once you start doing a couple, all you do is you find a few things that you're going to sell. So I'm going to sell this. I know that things that are about this size weigh under 12 ounces. So with a box, I'm just talking you through it right now. You go on to Canada Post, or you go on to ebay.ca, or you go on to USPS or Pirate Ship, and you go, how much does it cost to send a 12-ounce item to the furthest place away from me? So in Toronto, I'll do LA, but I'll also do a Japan. I'll also do a France. From Canada, I'll do how much is it going to cost me to go to Nova Scotia, because that's the one that seems to be the most.
Yeah, rural and the Atlantic province.
You get screwed on rural, but really rural, you get really screwed on. But to us, it's just the easiest way to do this. And what we do, literally, it's so easy, because when postal rates go up, you add 50 cents to your rate. You're covering yourself. And if somebody buys something from the far away, you've covered it, because you put that higher rate. So if I put $9 in and somebody buys something and it only costs $6 to send, I'm not giving them the $6 back. They bought it with the $9 thing. But so I make a little money. And if someone buys something and it ended up costing $10, I lose a little money. At the end of the day, that works. Yeah, for some people, it doesn't work. The flat rate doesn't work well for you. 65% of the sales are in Canada, so calculated is much better. Yeah, if your sales are Canadian, 95% of our sales are to the US. So Kendra says everything is flat rate. Susan says I use the same method thanks to us. It works 95% of the time. And it does. Lisa uses flat rate. So flat rate's best when using cross-border shippers. Yeah. And that's just it. So that's
your mileage may vary.
Yeah, it is. Like, and yes, Canada has the sometimes the flat rate boxes are good for postal codes. Sometimes, again, it can be really expensive depending on what it is you're selling. Diana, flat rate is much easier, but you don't ship within Canada much. So again, yeah, that's what you have to kind of look at. But when you do it, and again, I just want to go to a draft to show you, because we're just at the hour mark. When you build these, the way you do that in the most simplistic way you can is down here. You go, and you do this from Canada or the US. You go down to shipping. You pick in here, not calculated, you pick flat rate. The other nice thing about flat rate is you are not specifying who you're shipping it with. You don't have to. You just put in standard shipping. That's it.
Yep.
So
and then the amount that you want to charge.
UPS, USPS, Canada Post, Post NL. You can do Stallion special Canadian shipping. You can do Chit Chat special Canadian shipping. You can ship with Canpar. Anybody. You don't have to specify the shipping if you do this as flat rate and standard shipping. So in this case, that Lego thing, I know I will easily cover shipping to the US for $7.50.
I was going to say $7.50 will cover the shipping plus the cross-border shipping charge.
And then what you'll notice is what that does as well is when you put this in, it puts a number of days that it's going to take. So when the person is searching for it, and when you do this, because in this case, this is from Canada, I can add the service. Because I'm listing in the US on .com, I actually go to standard or expedited international shipping, because it's going to be from me to somebody using Canada Post in all likelihood. I save that. And again, it's a flat rate, and then I'll put an amount in here. It's like $25 US.
Sorry, you're on .com, so
this is all US. This is as if I'm sending, because I'm listing on .com, my sending to Canada is international.
Yes, it is.
So I could put Canada on its own if I wanted to. If you're doing it the other way, if you were in Canada, you would just do the reverse. You would actually say flat rate, and your US would say, there is a line on there that allows you to say shipping from Canada to the US. So you could put that in as your flat rate. It's just another way to put that on there. So that's what we hope is flat rate works a little bit better from people. This is why we do it and why it makes it so much more simple for us. So hopefully we didn't speed through too much, and you might have to watch this a couple of times just to sort of get it, the gist of it. But in reality, the simplistic way of looking at things is you build a listing with an easy to read title, bold or capitalize a couple of the things you want in there. So Lego, ghosts, the title, the artist, anything you want. Copy that into the description. When you get to your item condition, whatever you write in there, very simple and clean and very good, excellent condition. Use those words. And then things that people would want to know. Light, looks like it's never been used, lightly used, light scratches. Copy that into your description and then put an extra little sentence or two, if you think you need it, that gives you more detail on that. You don't have to get more in there. Item specifics, you need your brand. If it's there, you need to do what's required. What's recommended, you don't have to do. You can look and see what has actual reason to be there. And if you sell similar, make sure you review the other person's stuff. Because we've seen people who put in like 48 different things. And I'm thinking, this is a $10 item. How much time did they spend putting 48 different things in there? Pricing, Worthpoint is really great as well because it gives you a lot of stuff for other years. We'll do a pricing show on its own because it's such a finagly kind of thing to talk about. And do your research on eBay and their product research. You can do that on your phone now or on a desktop. Your photos, keep it simple. You don't use AI backgrounds. Make sure your items are clean. Try to use, clean your items, please. Clean your items, do a good photo, and then say, okay, I think this works. You don't have to use 24 photos if you only have a record. You don't have to take 24 photos of a record, but take as many photos as you think will help somebody with the buy. And then shipping, if you can, move to flat rate shipping and save yourself a lot when it comes to thinking, I got to measure everything. You don't. Throw everything onto a scale. I actually barely put anything on a scale now. I've been doing so much of this, I can do this. And you can use those same flat rates on Etsy as well. That's the other way you can actually do something. So.
Yeah, I actually go through and double check his shipping rates since I do all the shipping, and I have on occasion nudged the shipping in a particular direction so that we don't lose our shirts.
And sometimes you may actually bring your shipping down and cover it in your price. If you think everybody else is offering free shipping, again, you've got that research there on eBay. If 90% of the people doing free shipping, do free shipping, but add it in. All our Etsy stuff is over $35, includes free shipping. But all we've done is put the shipping into the price, and it hasn't stopped us from selling things.
I hate free
Andrew's got one question, which is, do you offer free returns, no returns, or does buyer pay return shipping? We actually, on eBay, on Etsy, we offer no returns. On eBay, we offer 60-day returns on, I'd say, 90% of our items. 10% of our items, we offer no returns. And it is always the buyer who has to pay. The only challenge with that is if somebody claims they got something that is not as described, we will have to pay to get it back. And that's a whole other show about, do you accept returns? And I think we might have done a video about that as well. Bob always checks the shipping costs. And sometimes their feet are where sell the item. That's true. I will say, Don, I don't want to know about that.
Well, no, it's keep your hands and feet out of the photo.
I know, but Andrew offers free 30-day returns to USA and Canada and have very, very few. Yeah. Returns are a part of the business as resellers. So hopefully, again, I hope we didn't go through this too fast. Hopefully we gave you a quick idea on how in this hour, how we go through this thing. I've got like 5 things I'm going to do, and it should only take me about 15 minutes at the most to do every one of these items. It shouldn't take you an hour. It should take even less. If you're using Sell Similar, you should be able to pump through items in 5 minutes or so. And then once you're doing items that you're used to, you should be able to get to that really easy, and as well as pricing all those sort of things. So hopefully you got some good ideas here. You might find something good. There will not be a show next week. Next Tuesday is Election Day in the U.S., and it's a very important election. We want everybody in the U.S. who can vote to go out there and vote. So we won't be doing that. We'll be watching on pins and needles ourselves how the election goes. And then we will be back the Tuesday after that with a what sold in October. Okay. Thanks again. If you have questions, please just ask them in the YouTube channel if you're watching the show afterwards, or write us in the craft group or anything along those lines. You learned something. That's nice that we can teach somebody who's done something, learning something too. So thanks so much. Have a great evening, everyone, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. I'm picky. Time went by too fast.
Eh,
No,
it
I was
went
just like,
well.
at the end of it, I was like, oh shit, I haven't even talked about shipping yet. And Greg had asked about